everybody. Welcome to this episode of 4Point Pathways, our podcast. I'm Eric Stevens. And today what I want to talk to you about is I want to talk about legacy systems. I want to talk about older systems. Now, for some of you who are using Adobe Experience Manager 6.5, and you're on a recent service pack, 10, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there, you don't have to listen to this. You're good. All right. You move along. Have a wonderful day. For the rest of you who are sticking around, that's because you're not on the most current version. Now, if you're on Adobe and you're on 6.5 and you're on an older service pack, you should go and get an upgrade on the service pack. You should install the new service packs. There's updates, there's changes, there's improvements, but most important, there's security that you need to include that is covered in those, and that's fine. But this conversation really isn't for you either, all right? This conversation is targeted at the folks who are on older versions of Adobe Experience Manager, 6.4, 6.3, 6.2, 1, 0. That's not good. Those are very, very old implementations. The version numbers alone represent that. But there's also people out there, you know who you are, who are on Lifecycle, ES4, ES2, JetForm Central. Are there any of those out there? Okay, all of you folks really need to think about how you're going to move from where you are today to the current version of Adobe Experience Manager. You are running tremendous risk. You are out of compliance with your IT department. And if your IT department is not screaming at you right now, they will be. It's because they don't know. They're going to figure it out and they're going to scream at you. You need to be thinking about how you're going to move to a modern version. You need to for a couple of reasons. One is those are out-of-date pieces of software. Okay. Now, for some of you who are listening to it, go, I'm on an older version of AEM, but seriously, people are still on Lifecycle and Central? Yes, they really are. And the problem is not just the Adobe products that are out of date, that you're not taking advantage of, and the security and compliance issues associated with that. The real deep issue is that those only run on older versions of the operating system. So if you're on Windows or Linux or whatever you're on, but let's say you're on Windows, you're now on a 15-year-old version of Windows. How many security updates have there been in there? Never mind functionality. Let's just talk about security. So that means that your operation, your critical operation for your business, is a major security risk for your organization. And that's why your IT department needs you to move to it. We talk to a lot of organizations who are dealing with these kinds of challenges. And let me tell you some stories. I'm removing the names to protect the guilty. So one organization came to us a couple of years back and they said, well, we've got an implementation of Lifecycle and it does these forms for us. And these are very important forms, but we're going to move off of that. So all we want to do is upgrade the OS. That's what IT is really worried about. And validly, IT is worried about that. But we went, no. It doesn't run on that operating system. It's not a matter of you can just upgrade the OS. It doesn't run on it. Because as they upgrade the OS, they remove older functionality because of security. It's not secure anymore. So we've upgraded it. That means it's changed. That means the applications need to be for the new versions. And we're talking about major upgrades here, major versions of Windows. So we said, we'll give it a try and let's see what happens. And then they went away. Okay, we thought they've solved the problem. They figured it out. 2 years later, they came back to us and said, okay, we need to revisit that. Because they thought 2 years ago they were going to replace it. So it would be okay, we'll just replace it. Okay, but 2 years later, they haven't replaced it. And now they're going through an even worse process of having to look at migrating from Lifecycle to Adobe Experience Manager. And it's going to be a significant amount of change. Okay, it is a significant amount of change. It's not an upgrade. It's a lift it off of the current one and recreate it on the new one. So I don't want to say to you that this is an easy process. It is not an easy process, but it is an absolutely necessary process. That was from Lifecycle. We're working with another organization. They're using JetForm Central. Great product. Okay. Worked with it in the 90s. Absolutely fabulous product, and fabulous that it's still running effectively for many organizations, too many organizations. But the problem is that it's on an older version of the OS, and the features and functionalities that people want today aren't available. They weren't even invented at that time. Things like, okay, well, I want to be able to put these on, mobile devices. I want these to be able to open up in browsers effectively. I want to be able to dynamically construct the documents more efficiently. I want deeper data integrations with my core systems. All of those are things that are capable today in Adobe Experience Manager in the current versions, but we're not capable in Lifecycle or JetForm Central. So we want people to be able to take advantage of those things. We want them to be able to upgrade them. So we're working with those kinds of situations. Even for those of you who are on Adobe Experience Manager 6.0, 6.1, 6.2, the transition from those versions to 6.5 still may be fraught with issues. There's concerns associated with that. What we strongly recommend in all these cases is that you engage with a partner like 4Point, where we can sit down and walk you through what needs to change. What are the issues? What are the implications? What has been removed and what's been added, so that you see a roadmap of how you're going to move from where you are today to where you need to be tomorrow, and how you're going to continue to maintain that. The last critical reason why you want to get on the most current versions is because all organizations today are doing a deep examination of all of their application and technology environments and how they should transition from an on-premise installation to a cloud implementation. This is a critical factor. The cloud offers a lot of advantages for a lot of different organizations. Some organizations are mandating that every single application, every single piece of technology has to be a cloud implemented version, because it gives them tremendous security. The OS issues go away. You don't have to deal with it. Security issues handled. Okay. Flexibility, power, capabilities, all of those things exist. You cannot go to the cloud with Adobe Forms capabilities unless you are on the current version. So you're not going to be able to go from Lifecycle and move it to the cloud. We're going to have to go Lifecycle through Adobe Experience Manager up to 6.5, get you on the modern service packs, get you running on OSGI, then we can move you into a cloud environment, regardless of what that cloud environment is. Even if you want to say, oh, it's my private cloud, I can put anything in my private cloud. Yes, you can. That's absolutely true. Except that when you go to deploy Lifecycle in your private cloud, they're not going to spin up a Windows 2006 instance for you. Not going to happen. Well, then it won't run. So you do have to upgrade to even go into your private cloud. So these are critical factors that we want you to look at. If you are on older versions, you need a plan today to begin moving to the most current versions, so that you are protected, so you can take advantage of the new functionality, so that you are compliant with your IT group, so that you don't have security and risk issues, so that all of those things are addressed. If you have those challenges, please get hold of us. We'd be delighted to sit down, walk you through all of the pieces, put a plan together for you, figure out what has to happen, okay, and implement that and move you to the version you need to be on. That's what I wanted to cover today. So thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again soon.